All right, hello everyone. Welcome to this special video on the final documents submission for EPIK Fall 2015. If you're watching this video and you're putting together your documents package, you'll want to pay close attention because we're about to outline all the documents that are required for every person, as well as documents that are required for individual situations. Okay? So we don't want to waste any time. So what are we going to talk about in this webinar? We're going to clear up any confusion regarding any of the documents, and we're going to tell you how to perfectly submit them, the formats, and who to mail them to. And we're also going to get you excited because this is the final stretch. I mean, you've been in this process for a while now, and you're finally winding down. Okay? So first, what are the big changes for the fall 2015 semester? There were two big ones. We wrote an article that gained a lot of attention talking about them. The first is that candidates must now submit a no smoking agreement. This does not mean that if you smoke, you cannot smoke in Korea. It's just an agreement form that you'll need to sign saying you will not smoke at school or in front of students. We'll show you the form and we'll talk more about that later, as well as we'll talk about the new requirement for South African candidates and that they must submit a primary and secondary school verification form, okay, verifying that their education was in English and the curriculum was in English. Anyways, we're going to talk about both of those forms at the end of this presentation, but let's move on. First, we're going to talk about the final things that every person needs to submit to EPIK. The first is going to be, of course, the EPIK Fall application form with the lesson plan and personal essay, a photocopy of your passport info page, 2 passport photos, 2 original letters of recommendation, 1 original criminal record check, and that must be apostilled, 1 photocopy of your diploma, doesn't need to be original, remember it's a photocopy, and that must be apostilled, 2 sets of sealed transcripts, university transcripts, as well as 1 photocopy of your TEFL certificate, and a no smoking agreement. Remember, the non-smoking is required for everyone, okay? Even if you smoke or even if you don't smoke. So let's go over additional, the documents that not every person is going to need, but those that fit these situations should submit. First is going to be the SMOE attachment. If you are applying through EPIK for the SMOE program, you're going to need to fill out some extra attachments. One is the SMO attachment, one is the addendum, which is extra articles in the contract that's specific to SMOE. Next is going to be an actual SMOE contract. You're going to receive it, be able to look over it, then you're going to sign it and include it. New, not this year, but last year, was the tattoo and piercing sworn declaration and photo form. It's just a form saying that if you have tattoos that are very visible, that you will cover them during school so that students and faculty are not exposed to them. Also, if you have tattoos and piercings, you'll need to actually fill out another form as well as take some photos so that EPIK can see what your piece or your piercing looks like. Okay, so how to complete that is just print out the form, sign it with an ink signature, and then attach your photos. Okay, you can print out your photos by just putting it into a Word document. Okay. Next is for those that are married, you can get you're eligible for the joint application feature, which is you need to submit a marriage certificate proving that you and your spouse are indeed married. This does not need to be the original certificate. Please keep that, as I'm sure it has some sentimental value, but you can create a photocopy of it and then put it with the rest of your documents. Next is the letter of expected graduation. If you're applying to EPIK and you're still currently in university, it's okay. You can save your spot in line. You'll just need to submit a letter that tells them when you expect to graduate. So that cannot be written by you. It needs to be written by your university admissions office, and they must state your anticipated graduation date, the date that they expect you'll receive your diploma, and it also must be printed on official letterhead and be signed or have some sort of a stamp, an official stamp on it. Okay. Next, for teachers, certified teachers that already have full-time teaching experience, you are eligible to enter in you're eligible for certain benefits, and usually that includes an elevated pay scale. So to do that, you need to include proof of your full-time experience. Okay. So that you need to get a letter from the school or the institution that you taught at, and on the letter it should include, the dates of your employment, how many academic years it was. Remember, it doesn't necessarily have to be one full 365 days, but it needs, what they consider 1 year at the school. So maybe that's from March until December or things like that, or February until December. This document also needs to be printed on official letterhead paper and have an ink signature or stamp on it from the school. Next is the TEFL enrollment letter. This is for people that are currently taking a TEFL course and have not finished yet. Please ask your TEFL Institute to send a letter that verifies you are indeed enrolled in that course. Okay. TEFL sworn finished declaration goes along with that. That is for people that also have not finished it, and you're pretty much agreeing that you will finish it. Okay. And actually, I'm just noticing now on this slide, the date is actually wrong. It should say July 15th, 2015. Okay. TEFL in-class hours verification letter is for those that are currently enrolled in a TEFL course that is taught in class, or you have in-class experience along with the TEFL course. Make sure you get a letter from your institution stating how many hours it was. Some cities or offices of education will require 20 hours or more. Some will require 50 hours or more. So make sure your institution lists how many hours of in-class practicum or experience you gained. And finally, a photocopy of your teaching license. If you are a certified teacher back in your home country, please include a photocopy of your teaching license. This will also possibly allow you to enter at a higher pay scale level. Okay. So now let's talk about the things that everyone's going to need, specifically going into things, your FBI or your criminal record checks, your diplomas, your passport photos, and things like that. Let's start off with the criminal record check. If you are from the United States, you should have already received or in the process of receiving your FBI Identity History Summary Check. That got a rename about a year ago from criminal record check. Once you receive it, make sure it gets sent off to get a federal apostille from the Department of State in Virginia. Okay, you can do that two different ways. You can send it in, or you can do a walk-in appointment. Applicants from Canada are also going to need to submit a criminal record check, except it's a little bit different, and it's called a RCMP, or the Royal Canadian Mounted Police Criminal Record Check. Okay, since Canada is not part of the Hague Convention, you will need to get your criminal record check notarized at a Korean consulate rather than get it apostilled. Okay, so once you get the form back, take it and get a consulate verification stamp from your nearest Korean consulate. You can either do this by mailing it in or visiting in person. For the United Kingdom, it's called a basic disclosure, and the process is first obtain your basic disclosure, then get it notarized from a notary public or a solicitor, and then also send it to a solicitor for an apostille. For Australia, New Zealand, and South African, as well as Irish citizens, get a national level police check, and then obtain an apostille from the appropriate governing office. Now, regarding the EPIK application form, make sure this is the time when you're actually going to print out your application form. Make sure it's the Korvia checked copy. You're going to need to attach the physical photo to that space on the top right where it says you must insert a passport quality photo here. Then you're going to need to make sure you sign wherever it asks for a signature with an ink pen. Okay, it's very important not to digitally sign it and then print it out. It needs to be in pen. Okay. Please also submit 2 sets of university transcripts. They must be sealed, and we recommend that you order 3 sets if possible because EPIK is going to require 2. However, you might be required to submit one other one for a different reason in the future, so it's good to order some extras if possible. Canadians, I believe when you go to the consulate, you have to submit, to get the visa, you have to submit transcripts again. So for Canadian applicants, we recommend that they order about 5 to 6. And remember, if you were a transfer student, you went to a school, for the first 2 years and then transferred to a school for the last 2 years, you need to submit the previous school's transcripts if the credits do not appear on your most recent transcript. That's a little bit confusing, huh? So check, first order an unofficial or get an unofficial transcript from your university online student portal. And if it includes credits or the courses you took at the school you transferred from, great. You just need to order the official sets then from your previous school, from your most recent school. But if it does not appear on that most recent transcript, then you'll need to order ones from your previous school, okay? And if you have not graduated yet, you need to submit a set of sealed unofficial transcripts and then order new sets of the official ones once you have graduated, okay? Remember, all these need to be sealed and not open for any reason. Okay, also include a apostilled photocopy of your university diploma. Remember, this is a photocopy, not the original. You can keep that. So what you're going to do is take pretty much your university diploma to a notary public. They're going to make a copy of it, and then they're going to make you sign some forms that verify that that indeed the form is real and that they made a photocopy of it, okay? After you get that notarized, you're going to need to send it off for an apostille. If you're from the United States, it can be from your own state's Secretary of State. From Canada, it needs that consulate verification stamp, so you're going to need to get that from the local Korean consulate. Elsewhere, Australia, Ireland, New Zealand, it needs a national apostille, okay? And remember, do not attach anything for any reason. Sometimes they attach things a little funky so that they have this, verification stamp on both papers, but whatever you do, don't undo that because that can invalidate it. Okay, if you have already completed your TEFL class, you'll need to submit a photocopy of your certificate. Doesn't need to be the original. Again, the total course hours must be stated, and if you're still currently taking the course, you're going to need to submit those documents we mentioned earlier. And make sure, remember again, that you finish it before July 15th, 2015. If you took a CELTA course, you'll also need to submit your photocopy of your CELTA certificate. However, since course hours are usually not printed on a CELTA certificate, you're going to need to obtain a verification letter from your CELTA provider stating how many hours of class it would have been worth. Okay. Next is the 2 letters of recommendation. These ones that you got earlier and you submit to your recruiter. Now is the time to submit the originals. Okay, so it must be the originals with ink signatures. And if for some reason your recommender was unable to print on official company or business or school letterhead, you can attach the business cards, their business cards to the letter, okay? You can just paper clip that so they can easily be detached later. Also include a photocopy of your passport info page. It can be a color or black and white. Remember that the passport must be valid until at least March of 2017. That's 6 months after if you completed a first year. When you complete a first year, 6 months after that date, it should be still valid. That's just so you don't have any hitches and that you're in an emergency and need to get it renewed while you're abroad, okay? Also make sure all the information is legible and clear and not blurry for any reason because they will use this to verify with other documents, okay? Also include 2 passport-sized photos. We really recommend heading to epassportphoto.com. It's a great way to get passport-sized photos printed for cheap and the best quality in our opinion, because with epassportphoto.com, what happens is you can take your own picture against a white sheet or a white backdrop, and then you can get 5 or 6 of them printed, and it only costs $1 or $2. Whereas if you do that, you do an official passport photo service, it's like $20 for 2 or something like that. Okay, so for the best quality, go to epassportphoto.com. A side note is, I'll have to say that they require these things for a lot of things in Korea when you sign up for services or get your medical checks. So we really recommend that you bring more than 2. So if you can bring like 6, you can bring like 10. Definitely do that so that you don't have to get them taken again here and pay all that money. Okay. So new for this year again was the no smoking agreement. Here it is pictured on the right. So make sure you fill that out and sign it, as well as put the date. This form just states that you will not smoke at school, you're refraining from smoking in front of students, or at EPIK functions such as orientation. Okay, for the South African education verification, again, they'll need to verify that their primary and high school education was conducted in English. This needs to be done via a letter from the school administration office for both the primary and the high school. And we have an example over here. We kind of faked this and blurred out some information, but this is generally, it doesn't have to be anything too long, but it does need to say something like, I hereby declare that the middle school follows a curriculum in which all subjects, with the exception of languages, are conducted in English. This curriculum is followed from the first year of schooling up to the last year in which they finish and graduate from the school. And it needs to have the name of the person that wrote it as well as their position at the school, okay? So you need to obtain one from your primary school and one from your high school. Remember, this is only for South African residents. And then include that with your documents. Whew! That's a lot of documents. So what you can do now is you can pause this screen, or you can take a photo of this screen via your screen capture or your print screen and make sure that you have everything, okay? So check over this list. On the left is the things that are required for everyone, and on the right are additional documents that depend on the situation of the person or their citizenship, okay? Just to remind you that the no smoking agreement, even if you do not smoke, you still need to fill that out, okay? That is for all EPIK applicants. When you have everything together in a beautiful little package, now's the time to send it to us here at Korvia. So we recommend using express mail carriers such as FedEx or DHL. That way you get a tracking number, a global tracking number. Because if you do something that's only like the United States Postal Service, you'll be able to track it up until it leaves the United States shores. So make sure you use an international carrier like FedEx or DHL, okay? If they ask for estimated value, you can just mark that it's under $50. Otherwise, it's going to be flagged by Korean Customs. We have had that happen, and the documents get held up for possibly a week, okay? So when sending it to us, if you've never filled out an international address before, you can do it kind of the same way in the same style that you're comfortable with. Top line should be Korvia Consulting, that's us. The second line is kind of the second mailing, second address, which is second floor of the Hanta building. The street address is 62 Nambu Sunwon Row, 358 Gil. And then the district, I guess, is Sochogu. City is Seoul. And the country is South Korea, with the zip code being 137886. Okay. So now you pretty much have everything together, and you can do a nice pat on the back for yourself, because that was indeed a lot of work, and I'm sure it took a lot of time. We want to thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, feel free to email us or contact your recruiter or post on our Korvia EPIK Facebook group. Okay, so if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to contact us or other teachers via Facebook. Okay, all right, thank you for watching, and we hope to see your documents soon.